So welcome to the sportsbet.io debate. This is where we pick the biggest topics in football and just have a chat about them. Of course, it's the Euro 2024 tournament starting later this week. So the guys are joining me. We've got Neil Mellor, former Liverpool striker, and former England goalkeeper Paul Robinson to debate the big talking points of Euro 2024. And I'm going to get straight in there because there's many talking points regarding the upcoming tournament. But the biggest one for me is, of course, England. They are favourites to win it. And I suppose the first question I'll be asking, and I'll direct this to Paul Robinson to begin with, should they be favourites to win the tournament, bearing in mind England, in the grand scheme of things, 1966 World Cup, don't actually win major tournaments. Therefore, should they be favourites?
Well, there'll be a lot of patriotic betting in England, obviously, won't there? There always is. England going to tournaments and England expect. Can they win the tournament? Yeah, absolutely they can win the tournament. They can beat anybody in a one-off game. We've talked about this before. But should they be outright favourites? I mean, we spoke about, again, if they're a racehorse on form, semi-final, final, quarter-final, they're there, they've proved they can do it. They've proved they can go deep into tournaments, but they can't get over the line. But on form, on the players they've got, the quality that they've got, they need a little bit of luck. Yeah, they can win it. But are they rightfully favourites? No, I don't think they're rightfully favourites. France are world champions. You look at the quality that the French have got. You look at the quality of players that they've got in all positions. If they lose one or two players, they've got an abundance of talent in the squad. I can't see why France aren't outright favourites. But then you look at the rest of the betting: Portugal, Germany, Spain, the Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, the current holders. There's a lot of good teams in there. Within England, there were a lot of patriotic betting, and rightly so. There's a lot of quality there. But should they be favourites as in an out-and-out question? I don't think they should. I think they should. They're up there. They're one of the favourites. But for me, I can't see why France aren't the favourites.
Robbo, did you watch the World Cup final, Robbo? Argentina v France.
I did, yeah.
Our France world champions, then.
well, yeah. They have been world champions. They've got World Cup winners in that dressing room.
Well, the supercomputer has spoken, and this is why probably England are favourites. I guess a lot of people don't give a lot of credence to the supercomputer, but the supercomputer has said that there's a 19.9% chance of England winning the tournament, and there's a 19.1% chance of France winning. So it is extremely tight. Should England be favourites, Neil? That's the question.
No, not at all. Fancied, yes, absolutely. Are England at the best? I don't think they are. I think England have three players who have had unbelievable seasons. Maybe you could throw four in there. Best player in the Premier League, Phil Foden. Declan Rice wasn't that far behind. He had a very good season. Best player in La Liga, Bellingham. Best player in Germany, Harry Kane. England have players who have had really good seasons and who can be match winners. I think you look at that and go, yeah, absolutely. Defensively, are England good enough to really cope with some of the best attacking talent in Europe? I'm not sure they are. And that's the question mark which England have to answer in this tournament. Favourites feels a little bit harsh, but fancied, absolutely. England have got a good chance if all the players perform. Need a little bit of luck. Paul mentioned that. I think the route to the final is tougher than previous tournaments. England got to the last Euros final against Italy, quarterfinals in the World Cup. I think it'll be tough for England to get all the way to the final and win it, but do have a chance.
Why have England? Because I always think, look, if you look at England as a nation, we are so small in comparison to some of the nations that we take on in football tournaments. If you look at the size of Brazil, if you look at the size of even France and Germany, yet I think we really do punch above our weight with the talent that this country produces. If you look at it, it's the producing even the likes of Jared Bowen and Adam Wharton coming through, and even the likes of as we mentioned, Bellingham. We've had Beckham in the past, Gerrard in the past, Lampard in the past. Gascoigne. How far back do you want to go? This country is brilliant at producing football greats. So why does it never seem to happen in a major tournament for England? Not even once since 1966, where it's happened for even the likes of Denmark and Greece. Never mind your Portugals and your Netherlands and Germany's. Why has it never happened for England?
I mean, it's the $1 million question. I mean, you mentioned the players, you reeled off the players. You look at the different generations, you look at the squads. Yeah, we do produce quality players, and we do produce quality players that achieve at the top level, at club level as well. But for whatever reason, it's not been able to be done at a national level. it's our national game. We're very, very proud as English people. We get behind our national team, and it's our national game. And we have underachieved with the players that we've had, the squads that we've had, and nobody knows the answer to that. But the longer it goes on, the harder it is. You've got to get the first one out of the way. Everyone goes on about 1966 and the phrase that everyone hates outside of England. It's coming home. Every other nation in the world hates that and looks at England with a little bit of a wry smile and a snigger and say, well, when was the last time he came home? That type of thing. But we do produce players, and we have got the best players in certain leagues in the world at the moment. But it's getting those players on the pitch. It's getting those players on the pitch in a formation to perform and to beat other teams in the world. Defensively, I think is going to be our Achilles heel. We've got a couple of players missing. We're defensively susceptible. We concede goals. In the forward areas of the pitch, I think they've got a great opportunity to go and score goals and win games. But as far as why it's not happened over a number of years, it's hard to put your finger on. From personal experience, 2006, the golden generation, also in Germany, we went to the World Cup there. We were expected to win the World Cup, as England are in going into many tournament favourites. In hindsight and time, looking back, I think we were tactically maybe slightly naive in a way. We played a 4-4-2 system. Football hadn't evolved to what it has now. If you look at the likes of Jurgen Klopp, you look at the likes of Pep Guardiola with the formations that they play, how fluid that the formations are, the different formations that Arsenal play, Man City play, Liverpool play in the Premier League now. If we were able to adapt a formation to fit our best players in, it may have been a different result. I mean, we had Paul Scholes playing on left wing because we were playing a 4-4-2. We had Peter Crouch playing in behind Michael Owen and Rooney at times. We had Joe Cole playing on the right wing. We had square pegs in round holes because the formation was so rigid. And that's the only thing that I can look at going back through history and time. And also, we're guilty of fast-tracking players into the first-team squad without getting tournament experience at under 21 level, under 18 level. But we have done that in recent times. But as far as why the first team hasn't got it over the line, tough question to answer.
What about you, Neil? Does it just come down to having that winning mentality? Whereas if you are playing for England, it has gone. I mean, some of it can come down to luck. Of course, we've had penalty shootout, heartbreak failures, not just in the Euros, but in the World Cup as well. And it's almost like with a sense of England where if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. So is this just like sometimes we just miss out on that winner's mentality when we come up against the likes of France who have won stuff, so they can rely on that experience? I know the players change, but that mentality can feed through from generation to generation, which clearly it hasn't with England.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will say, oh, this is a great England team. I think we've had better England players and squads before this tournament. Paul mentioned it there, the golden generation, and we never really fulfilled that potential. I think we've got some outstanding players, but as a complete group, I think we have vulnerabilities, and maybe that expectation may dampen down a little bit. Surprised that we are favourites, I have to say that. I think you look at English teams in Europe this year, I think they've underperformed. And then you're thinking, well, the amount of games that some of these lads have played this season, I think I saw a stat. Bellingham's played over 100 games in 2 seasons. Harry Kane's played a lot of football. We need our best players to be at it, to be sharp, and to perform. And England have underperformed on too many times. And we have some of the best players, certainly in European football, if not world football. And maybe you need that little bit of luck, that togetherness. What I would say under Southgate, and he gets a lot of criticism, Southgate, but he has settled England players off the pitch. How many times have you got into tournaments when there's been such negative stories about players? And I feel as though he's settled that down a great deal. I think there's more professionalism with how the game's evolved, but also with this England group. So that can certainly help them. But we're not far away. We aren't far away. It's just I just don't see us as favourites at all for this one.
And just quickly, as this debate comes to an end, as we're discussing England of the sportsbet.io debate about Euro 2024, how much, because there's a lot of disdain, or there's probably the confidence of the nation. England has taken a bit of a hit given the lacklustre friendly defeat at home to Iceland. Will that benefit England as a squad, or does that not matter in the slightest?
It doesn't matter in the slightest. I mean, you look at what other teams have done going into this tournament. It's about the qualification, how you got to this tournament. I mean, Jude Bellingham's not even featured in the 2 friendly games. The 2 friendly games leading into the tournament is purely about getting players minutes into the legs, having a look at certain players, certain formations, maybe trying a couple of individual things out. But no manager looking across the international board there would have left anything until the last 2 friendly games. I mean, you look at some of the teams through the groups. The starting 11 in those friendlies, probably only 7 or 8 will be sat on the bench. I mean, there'll be 3 or 4 of them that'll actually start the game. England started off with a fairly strong side against Iceland. A lot of changes were made, but you literally can't read anything into those games. I mean, yes, the press will jump on it. There'll be a lot of scaremongering. It's all about how England start the tournament, how they start their first game for me.
Okay, brilliant. So clearly, I don't think either of you are tipping England to win this. So I'm going to ask you a question to wrap up the debate. I want a one-word answer. So if England don't win the tournament, Neil, I'll start with you. At what stage of the tournament did England depart and get knocked out of the Euros?
My one-word answer will be semis.
Okay. And Paul, same question to you.
How can you put semi-final into one word? But yeah, semi-final. They're coming up against on the prediction, if you look at what I predicted for the tournament, they're coming up against France in the semis. So yeah, semi.
So they agree. Semi-finals is where England depart Euro 2024, and therefore the current favourites, correct at the price of recording, do not win Euro 2024. Neil and Paul, thank you for your time as we debate England on the sportsbet.io debate.